can see he's a little bit nervous of us, so it stopped. Come. VM, come here. You can actually see a nice shot of its face. We got it. Wonderful. How cool is this? So this is the hyena that was calling. Now just from a quick look, it looks like a female again. But you could probably help us identify as to who this is. A little bit of tatty ears, but not completely messed up. I'm just going to have another look. Now there's no point to hide away from this hyena. It knows that we're here. It's looking straight at us. And I think it knows we don't really want to bother it too much. And it's not running away because it's got a drainage line between us and, well, itself. So it feels very relaxed because it knows that we can't run as fast. And I'm sure it'll get through that drainage system. But look at that. How cool is this? Finally. Finally. It's still here. After all that hard work of chasing after hyenas this morning, it paid off. And that is my favorite thing about doing this, is that you can try, and you feel like you've been beaten, but then just when you feel like there's no hope, you'll get another opportunity to see something like this. So I better apologize, of course, for the technical difficulty we had just a moment ago. Here it is, it's still here. I'll apologize for that now. I have a song for all of you. But there's the hyena. It's still staring straight at us, just near that bush willow and in between the wattle. This is so cool. We're going to check these hyena dens as well. We're going to have a look around here to see if there's anything happening, because there's a lot of activity coming out of some of these dens. A lot of hyena tracks around, whether it's this one that has just been patrolling up and down. Like I said, I think it's the same hyena that we've been bumping into. And off it goes. You might get one view again as it comes into this little, there it goes. He's running through the long grass. That was so funny. And now it has disappeared. But of course, that was incredible. I'm so excited because we've been waiting for that all morning. So to get it calling just a couple of yards from us as well was pretty special. And you know how we live in Africa, and sometimes we have technical difficulties. Well, the gremlins hit us hard, and I have a song for you. Are you going to do a beat for me?
I can do a trumpet, but I can't remember how the tune goes.
Gremlins, gremlins, da 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 da. Okay, I'm just getting the tune for VM. Are you ready? Because VM's going to do background noise. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Gremlins, gremlins, attacking all our feeds. Gremlins, gremlins, kick them in the knees. Why won't you just leave us alone? Just leave us alone. And that's the end of my gremlin song, but apologies for a little technical error that we had. But I think that was that hyena sighting probably made up for it. So if you're feeling a little frustrated, I think we're as good as gold now. And it's actually still, it's not running away from us. It's still far, just up in the distance, looping around. So I think it's not going to be a bad idea to check. There's a monster of a termite mound just across the way. Bye hyena, thank you. That was really nice, and it was such a good positive sighting. When it saw us, it obviously froze and also looked at us and thought, what on earth are you? Then I stood up. There's no need to hide myself in what knew we were there, and then it was quite relaxed. It just darted down the little drainage system and then didn't run away again, which was really, really nice. So hopefully the next time that hyena sees people, it probably won't be so skittish, and eventually it will get used to us walking around here in the bush on foot. Pretty amazing that we are a part of, well, showing the animals that we're not out here to harm them, and then hopefully they'll repay us by doing the same thing. Though most of them just run away from us. We're going to make our way to the big termite mound, and we'll hopefully have something exciting to show you. But I wonder, and I don't wonder, I'm pretty certain that Hosana and Xongile are still jumping around on top of each other and playing for all of you this morning.
Well, there they were, hidden by some grass. Hosana's just got to pick up Xongile. Boom! Leopard cubs are just the best things when it's a nice cool morning like this. They are so very active, and we found them at the perfect time this morning. Let's try and get into a better spot. Wait, he's up. Okay, let's try and move into a better spot. we go, we got little Xongile lying out in the open, but she's about to get up. And Hosana is lying in wait. He's got into a stalk position on a termite mound just in front of him. Here he comes! Oops, sorry, hat. Oh, this is just magical. And what a wonderful way to follow up that incredible experience we had yesterday on foot. Oh no, he's back into the ambush position. Xongile is pretending she doesn't notice him or doesn't care. Well, she's going straight for... Oh no, what have you found to play with? Careful, he's going to jump. Now you can see how when he gets into that position, he melts into the grass. Boom! That was a great tackle. What a great... Now, wait, are we going to leap again? Back into the ambush position. Oh, he's going to jump. Oh, she managed to avoid the takedown there. Oh, man, she got it afterwards. And off they go. Oh, it definitely does warm the heart and soul spending time with little leopards, in particular these two. Roll over and swat. Okay. Oh, Hosana's disappeared. I can't see him. He's gone behind the termite mound. Oh, off she goes. Oh, there we go. To keep us on the move this morning. Oh, no, they're going the other way now. I'm just trying to see where's going to be the best spot. So, there we go. Jane was wondering, do leopards with a sibling have a better chance at survival in terms of developing their skills? Not necessarily, Jane. So if they don't have a sibling, all these skills will be practiced on mom. Oh, they're going to play who's the king of the termite mound. Oh, there we go. So if they don't have a sibling, they will practice these skills in different ways. Now we saw young Xongile, who didn't have a sibling who survived. He practiced most of his skills on tiny little birds, cisticulars and dwarf mongoose. So of course, probably there is some advantage, but I wouldn't say it's a massive advantage. The disadvantage is when there's two of you. Yes, here you go. And as Jamie's in final control, and she said, and Xongile used to practice his stalking and skills on Jamie. Here she comes. Oh! Oh, it is so wonderful when they're being this playful. Now they're probably going to, from the playing that's going on, they're probably going to go flat in the next little bit. But while they are active, it is just too wonderful to spend time with them. Off she goes. Oh. Oh, Jody in New Mexico, I apologize. We had a tech problem that stopped me from finishing your question. Jody would like to know, do they always land on their feet? And the answer is no. and I've seen leopards fall on their backs, on their sides, but most of the time they land on their feet. Now Xongile has literally melted into the grass, and she is now in the ambush position. Hosana can't actually see her. He's trying to find her. He's not sure where she is. He's being a bit cautious about that piece of thick grass. Oh, I think he spotted it. There we go. Oh. I give up. And he flops down. Well, they certainly are performing for us this morning. Oh, Hassan has moved off a little bit. Oh, he's going to come in. He's now stalking. He moved a few meters away so he could practice stalking. And I think we're going to get a nice big leap out of him. Oh, he's gone a little bit flat. Look how he's flattening his body against the ground. His ears are flat. And you can see how he, from a distance with that coloration, he just melts into his surroundings. Come on. There we go. You can see that shoulder blade is up. His muscles are tensed. He's ready. Oh, here we go. Oh, magic. Now remember, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV if you would like to ask a question. Oh, turn around again. Poof! Oh, he's so rough, Mr. Hosana. He's just that much bigger. Oh, they've melted into the grass again. You can just see a little bit of movement in the grass there. Now, BD would like to know... Oh, off they go! She got him. That was a great tackle. Textbook rugby tackle from behind, round the waist. Sorry, BD. BD would like to know, will Mom ever bring live prey back for them? It's very... she won't bring it back for them. If she happens to catch something close to where they are and it's still live, sometimes they will take over, like you saw happen with Jamie when Hosana took over that Inyala kill from his mom while it was still breathing. Oh, Hosana is on the termite mound. Is he going to use it as a nice high leaping point? Ears are flat. Stalk is on. He's getting ready. Getting ready to leap. Oh, wow! Shame. Whacked into the tree there. That couldn't have been too pleasant. Now, I've lost sight of Hosana. Just Xongile there. Where's he gone? That troublemaker. Where's he gone? He must be... I'm assuming he's where she's looking, but the grass is really long there. Will he burst out of the greenery? Cindy's wondering, do I think animals laugh or have a sense of humor? Well, Cindy, a sense of humor in the human terms, probably not. But they definitely do enjoy playing. So whether they're laughing or not, the only animals that I know are capable of laughing are the apes, chimpanzees, and bonobos. I don't even think gorillas laugh, and they're quite serious. But it's chimpanzees and bonobos do laugh. And if you remind me a little bit later in the drive, I actually have a recording from Gabon when I was living in the rainforest of a chimp laughing, and it is a very strange sound indeed. Now, I still can't see where Hosana is. Do you know where he is, Craig? No, we both don't know. We've just got Xongile sitting on that termite mound. And they're definitely enjoying themselves. You can see that they're enjoying themselves, whether they have a sense of humor or the capability to be able to sort of, I think you need to be able to pull a prank to have a sense of humor. I would say elephants might have a sense of humor, maybe, but even then I think we might still be stretching. And it's very human to want to put human emotions into wild animals, because at the end of the day, and it's possible that these two might end up eating one another if push comes to shove, because they do get very hungry. Female leopards will eat their cubs if they've been killed. Sometimes, if they've been injured, they'll eat their cubs. So, survival is what's most important out here. You see him? No, just Xongile. She doesn't know where he is either. You can see she's very cautiously looking around. And I wonder if he's getting close to her without her realizing. Oh, there he is. And that wasn't very sneaky at all. He just sort of waltzed out. Okay, now we're going to sneak where we both know where each other's. Is he going to leap? His muscles are bunched. Oh, here we go. Here it comes. She seems to be waiting for it, but nonchalantly pretending he's not there. Oh, let's have a head rub. Oh, what a jump! What a leap! Let's see if we can move around quickly. Right, sorry, my camera's caught on the gear lever. So I've lost sight of both of them completely, but I'm sure they're just on the other side of the termite area. What a wonderful, wonderful morning it's been so far. It's a pity Tristan is still having some tech issues, so they are working on it. There we go, as expected, just having a snooze on the other side of the termite mound. What are you eating, Hosana? Is he just licking the sand? He's biting roots, grass roots. That doesn't look very tasty. Patience, your mom will be back with some dinner soon. So they do seem to be slowing down a little bit. So while we wait to see if they get playful again, or if Queen Karula arrives back. Oh, let's just pat around a grass root quickly. Why not? Oh, Hosana might want it now. Just 1 second, I think he's going to come careering over the termite mound. because his head was up and then he just disappeared from view. Yes. Is he sneaking around the edge of the termite mound? Or has he gone to sleep on the other side? I can see him. He's gone to sleep. So let's go see what Madam McCurdy is up to on foot.
That makes me laugh. Hosana's just like my brother. 1 minute running around in circles, and well then the next minute fast asleep as if nothing had even happened. But we've got their mother's tracks just over here. We've come all the way onto Philemon's cut line like we said we were, so we've trekked through. No sign of any activity around any of those hyena dens, sadly, but her footprints are going that way towards Herbert, so I think let's keep up with him. And I had a companion with me this morning too. I had a grasshopper that jumped onto my sleeve. I then put the grasshopper onto my hat so it had a better view of its surroundings. I thought it'd probably want to see where it's going. On my sleeve it'd get hidden by my jersey and I could squash it, and then it jumped off. I'm very sad. Not as loyal as my friend Mildred, who I had the other day, who was a millipede, Mildred the millipede, that lived upon the top of my hat. So I'm very upset now about my friend the grasshopper. We'll just have to stick to millipedes because I suppose they can't jump away. But as you know, and as we saw before, those little grasshoppers that were landing in the puddles of water with the tadpoles, is that they've got an incredible jump. So that one could have leapt to Australia. Really, no, I'm joking, it couldn't have done that, but you get what I'm trying to say. They can jump pretty far. Where are the animals? There's no wind now, so it's nice. It's actually starting to get nice and warm. But sadly, there's just nothing about at the moment. Oh, except a polyrhynchus ant. Let's find a better one. Hang on. Let's find a really good one. Here we go. Here's a nice one here. There's a couple all on the silver cluster leaf. They're feeding around. There's some really nice big ones actually going up the trunk. I don't know what they're doing. They must be... oh, they're living here. Look here, Vim. They're living around here. They've actually got an entire... Now I'm thinking maybe these are not polyrhynchus ants. Maybe there's something else. But look, all of this, remember I showed you the other day, is very typical of an ant's nest. The fine, sort of loose soil, unlike the termite mounds that get nice and hard. But they've been living here probably for a very, very long time. You can actually see all of the ants going up and down the trunk of the tree, out sort of foraging, looking for various things to bring back. But we've seen these ants before. They're not polyrhynchus, I apologize. The one I saw was massive and it looked like one, but now that you start to spot a lot of them, I'm doubting myself. But we have seen these ants raiding termite mounds before. So they are indeed, well, they like to feast on other insects. And I'm sure a little bit of vegetation too, but I'm not sure what they are. There's so many different types of ants and things out here. I don't know if Herbie was signaling. Was he signaling us? Did you see that? I don't know if he was waving us to come through that way or not, but we'll head down towards him. Just check around here because we often see lots and lots of elephants. And we're actually not far from the hyena den, the one that's active. It's just in here, but we're not going to go in on foot. We won't bother her. Did I hear correctly? Sir Potato. That is the best name I've heard all day. Thank you, Sir Potato. You're wondering, and we'll find a term up. Oh, Surf-a-tato. No, I liked Surf-a-tato though. Now I can just imagine a potato on a surfboard, you know, in Hawaii, going about it. My imagination is just wonderful, isn't it? But so you've asked Surf-a-tato, how fast do these termite mounds spring about? Relatively quickly, and the way you can see that is that often in the mornings when you come driving along the road, you'll see where they've pushed through the ground and started making their little temporary chambers. We might see some here. We often see a lot of termite activity on these areas, but also this road is a very well used road, so they could have been already driven over. But I reckon it takes them a couple of years before it even reaches the surface of the earth. So I'm obviously just guessing now. I don't know if anybody has sat and watched the entire development of a mound before, because I think that would be pretty impressive if you could get that right, watching them underground and then eventually developing it to that big heap above the earth. So I'd say about 10 years or so it must take to start developing and get a decent colony size underneath the ground, and then after that they push through and then they start developing the mound on the surface too. Because remember, those termite mounds can live for a very, very long time, up to 50 years, if not even a little bit longer. So it's a bit difficult to sort of say, I suppose, but no, none. And when we were walking earlier, we were coming through checking all those hyena dens. We actually had spotted quite a few little temporary structures that the termites had built up. But we'll see, we might find a little spot somewhere around here, because the other morning when we did a walk, we had the firefly larvae just up over here trying to go into a termite burrow. I think it was the harvester termite burrow, so we might see something. No, this is from ants. You can see here. Yeah, again, the very, very loose soil. This is a little ant heap that is pushing out through the ground. You can see there's a couple of them. There's more of it. And there's even another pile on this side of the road as well, where they've pushed the earth out. So this is sort of just their unwanted stuff. So they're excavating, digging more chambers, and then they're bringing all of this to the surface. And then that's, of course, how they start forming the big piles. But as you've seen here in South Africa, most of the ants don't make the big mounds like the termites. They make the loose soil, and it doesn't really get too high. It probably gets about a foot at most, maybe 2 feet, really pushing it if it's a really old ant heap. But nothing on the termites, but we'll find something. There's a lot of big termite mounds as we go through Philemon's dip and sort of as we come towards quarantine. There's some really, really nice big ones that might be active. We might be able to see how they're developing and spreading, and they continue to build. They don't stop working for 1 second. So even though they go, oh great, fantastic, I've reached the height that I wanted to, they will start spreading a little sideways as well. Right, let's carry on going down here. Now you may have just seen something going past me. There's also a vehicle, so there's other people driving, going on safari, and then of course you can see that there's a little wooden structure just over there. That is where we get our water from. So there's a water pump inside that, and we've just put that, we would call that latta, those thin pieces of wood around it to keep hyenas out, to keep lions out, and of course to keep curious leopard cubs and little elephants that would find all the equipment that is in that little house fun to play with. Very expensive equipment to play with, of course, so we try and keep them away from that. Okay, well, where are these termite mounds? None down here, but if we go a little bit further up, there's a little one here. We can have, well, I say little, but it's a big one. Here we go. This is quite an amazing little termite mound. We often see the hyenas coming to feast upon the alates, or when they are released. But before I get too much into this this termite mound, Sarah, who is a new viewer, welcome. Thank you for watching, and please keep sending through all of your questions. We're happy to have you here. So everyone, all our regular viewers, please give Sarah a big Safari Live welcome as well. And you're wondering who put all these roads here. So we have a maintenance team that comes through. So there would have been a couple of old sort of farm roads, I would suppose you could call them. And then when it developed into a game reserve, like what it is now, a protected area where we view animals, no hunting, we would have introduced a couple more roads. But we try not to put too many roads on the property. So the landowners will decide on how many roads they would like, and in conjunction with the Sabi Sandville. So they're sort of like our governing body. They help us look after this area, the conservation body, I suppose you could call them. So they tell us, yes, okay, you can do this, you can have so many roads, and everybody comes to an agreement. And now what will happen is you won't be able to put in any more roads. If you want to add a new road, you'll have to close one that's not being used. So we try and do that, and it's good, because you shouldn't have roads everywhere. You should have massive areas where, well, you have to go in on foot if you want to go and find something, which is quite nice. But let's have a look at our termite mound. We climb up the back here, and it looks like everybody's still closed up. You can just see, you can see that all the little chimneys are closed, but I'm working my way on top, and actually I'm worried I'm going to go through here. It's very soft from all of the rain, so I can see an opening, woo, just on the other side. Let me race around. Here we go. Let's see who's been standing here. It was this us. It actually does look like my footprints. It would have been me who was lurking around here doing the same thing. Here's some termites in here. See, there they are. Now, it could have been a number of different things that would have opened up the top of this termite mound. Thank you, VM, for your torch. Try and see if we can get it in there. Where's a better angle? I'm trying to find a good angle. There we go. That might be a bit better. There they are. And it could be hornbills that was now it's steamed up. Did you see her? Did you see how steamy the lens just got? Because that is how much heat that is coming out of this termite mound. That's pretty cool. Hey Sarah, I don't know if you've ever seen that before, if you've just started watching, that if I put my hand here, it's so hot. So the lens is definitely going to steam up slightly. But probably hornbills were sitting about here pecking away at the softer soil so that they could eat the termites that you can just see there hanging around the edge. But as this weather warms up, well, so are the termites, and they're going to start opening these chimneys. It is incredible. It is so warm. It's like you couldn't boil water on it. It's not that hot, but it is lovely, lovely and warm. Sorry, Louise. Please may I have that question again? Rexon is just passing us as well. He's carrying on with his drive with his guests. Raquel, now this termite mound, as you can see, is very much active, even though it's got its little chimneys closed up, just to keep the cool weather out though. And you're wondering, why do they, did you say excavate or vacate the mound? I apologize, Louisa, vacate. Why do they vacate the mound? For a couple of different reasons. So if they don't have to, they won't. The whole colony will die if a queen dies. So then there will be no termite mound left. So then it will be left open for potentially other termites to come and take over some of those alates that were released after the rains. If something like an aardvark, an antita, comes through and perhaps completely demolishes the mound and there's not much of the colony left, they might leave as well. But what often happens is they just leave the top of the mound. So we're only seeing 1/3 of it, which is above the surface, and then 2/3 is below the surface of the earth. So it's very much like an iceberg. So that's what we see. So often we can think, oh, this mound is not active anymore, but we don't really know what's going on underneath the mound. Maybe they've just pushed further down again, so where they can will try and re-establish the colony where it once was before various animals that feed on termites, like I said, aardvark, aardwolf, all sorts of different things, pangolins, will come through and well, feast upon them, and then they'll probably disappear. But wow, it's been a long wait now. Tristan started off with a bang this morning, and then those pesky gremlins jumped aboard. But it seems as though Wendy's gone into the hospital. Jigger's come out of recovery. Let's go and see how the two of them are doing.
Indeed, it's been a interesting morning to say the least. Poor little Wendy's decided it's morning off day. She's not doing the job this morning, so we had to retire me and go and fetch Jigger and then get all Jigger's gremlins sorted out. And so all seems well at this stage. Hopefully we will be carrying on and there will be no further issues. I'm sure Tayla and Brent must be quite fatigued now that they've had to hold the whole show, and I've been running around doing other things. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and go and see. We're going to go poke our noses in at the hyena den or Philemon's cut line. There's been so much hyena activity this morning. I know Tayla had hyena on foot. We had hyenas when we were coming back with Wendy going up Weaver's Nest. So I'm going to go and have a look at the den and see if it's active. So hopefully there will be some sign of them. But it's nice to be back out and moving again. It's always a little bit frustrating when the gremlins arrive. So, sorry about that, everybody. It's part of being out here, and like I say, with these cloudy, wet conditions, sometimes things get damp and we have a few little issues. But hopefully Wendy will be back up and running fairly shortly. She's a valued member of the team. So Jason, you're wondering why hyenas sometimes travel in packs and other times they travel alone. Well, basically how it is generally if you see them in packs, it's because they've come together for a reason. So maybe there's a food source. Let's say lions on a buffalo kill, one has stumbled upon it, and then you'll find all the others start coming through, vocalizing of that hyena starts to call, and the rest will then arrive. When they're traveling around on their own, is generally that's when they are looking for food. And so it makes much more sense, rather than having a clan walking this road only. If there's 8 members of the clan and 8 members go on 8 different roads or 8 different pathways, it means that they are covering a lot more ground and a lot more distance, and so therefore they can provide a lot more food for the whole clan itself. So if one of them bumps into something, they then vocalize and all of them start coming that way, and will start to then help out with getting the food that they need. Also, you'll find that when they are in clans, if they come across small food items, then depending on where they sit within the ranking system, they may not get a meal. So if it's something small, like let's say half an impala between 8 hyenas, there is going to be some hyenas that are going to miss out. But if they're on their own and they come across that half an impala, they can get a really good feed and have a nice meal to themselves. So that's why they walk around a little bit on their own. And then sometimes you'll find, if they're doing a bit of a territorial walk, that the high ranking females will be together. So you might find like 2 or 3 of the high ranking females walking around together and their young ones, and they'll be doing pasting and marking wherever they can. Alright, so while we're on our way to the hyena den, talking about all things hyena, let's go back to Brent, who I believe is still with the leopards and seems like he's had a fantastic morning.
They're still playing a little bit, not nearly as much as earlier. The morning is slowing down. Hosana seems to be the one initiating. Xongile seems to be a little bit tired of all this playing nonsense. Where are you off to now, Hosana? Oh. He seems to just do this loop around, then come back and try attack her. There we go. He's thinking about it. He's changing his angle of approach. Here we go. Using the long grass. Okay, get ready. Get ready to catch the screenshot of a leaping leopard. Hosana is bunching his muscles. There they go. Hosana is definitely the aggressor in the games at the moment. Xongile is trying to have a snooze, and she keeps getting harassed by him. And that's probably why she moves away from him when he goes flat. Just gives herself a little bit of a break, because he is being absolutely relentless. Oh no, now she's initiating. Oh, what a tackle. What a tackle. Now, the English Rugby Club could learn a bit about tackling from the Leopards after their performance last night. Kay's wondering whether they ever become aggressive with each other. They do, and it can happen quite quickly. And it's happened a few times this morning. They've snarled at each other quite seriously, or Xongile in particular snarled at Hosana quite seriously. A claw could get hooked in an ear or in the skin, and it can be a bit sore, and they can get aggressive with each other. And breathing quite heavily now. I said I don't think they're going to be at it for too much longer. Oh, unless Karula comes back, then there'll be a whole new bunch of excitement. Now I heard Tayla found Karula's tracks around Philemon's dip. I wonder if she had a successful hunt last night. Is Hosana doing the loop again to come back and attack? Xongile is ready. Oh no, Hosana went flat. Oh, is Xongile going to become the aggressor? Look at that tail flicking. She's flattened her ears. Oh, is she going to leap? Oh, no, ears have come up again. But the tail's still flicking. Oh, there we go. See the head movement change. Here we go. Oh, look at that. Boom she goes. Boom. Now, I've just heard that their monkey's alarm calling outside DRC. So I'm just going to call Tristan on the radio. The final controls told Tristan for me. This has been amazing. I mean, what else could we see that's going to trump this morning? I don't think much at all. So, as I said, slowly but surely they are slowing down. But it doesn't seem to be happening too much. Oh, that was a bit more of a serious Xongile, getting a little bit tired of all the snarling, all the tackling. Oh, now, while we are having the best time with the little leopards, Tristan and Tayla are zooming in on those monkey alarm calls. Who's going to be first? Who's had some wagers? Craig, who's going to be first to find whatever the monkeys are alarm calling at? Tristan or Tayla?
Probably Tayla.
Craig says Tayla. Oof, now I have to go with Tristan. So, Tristan, the pressure's on. Don't let me down. Who do you guys think? Who's going to find the animal first? Tristan or Tayla? Hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. Here comes Hosana again. The relentless pursuit of his sister continues. He's about to walk into frame. She's in the long grass. Look how he's bunching his muscles. Oh, that was quick. You can see that incredible burst of speed leopards are capable of. And that was fast, and he wasn't by any means at full speed. Oh, he's looking up. Is he thinking about climbing that marula tree? It looks like there could be some comfy branches in it. Oh, Xongile is getting ready to pounce on him now. Oh, she looked like she was. She had that focus in her eye. Oh, there we go. It's about to go down again. She's flattening herself in the grass. Oh, he thought she was coming. She's probably about 4 feet from him now. You can just make her out in the grass. His back's turned. Will she take advantage? Not yet. Yes, she will. Oh, amazing. We are being absolutely spoiled. I keep thinking they're going to get flat, but they just keep on keeping on. But I think they're going to be very flat for the most of the day, and maybe even very flat for this evening after this bout of playfulness. It's probably why Xongile was so tired yesterday afternoon when we found her on foot. It's because she had been dealing with Hosana for the whole morning. Oh, is she going to take advantage of him turning his back again? Or is it time for a snooze? Well, there we go. Who was going to find whatever the monkeys were alarm calling first? Tristan or Tayla? Everyone says Herbie. Well, I think you guys are probably right. Waterbuck Rogers is wondering, will Hosana be called Hosan when he reaches adulthood? Because he will no longer be a little prince, he'll be a big one. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think so. I think Hosana will probably remain his name, even if he becomes a great beastie of a leopard. There comes the next pounce. He's getting ready. Here he goes. Oh, magic. Now, the distances they're running and jumping and chasing them have definitely decreased. This is just amazing, and I know you guys are absolutely loving this as much as we are. Oh, he's doing it again. He's getting ready for the next pounce. Poor Xongile, just never a break with Hosana around. Oh no, he backed out. Oh, I think it's nap time now. Unless Xongile decides to become the instigator. Yep, it's time for a clean and a nap. Well, while the leopards go flat, we're going to spend a little bit more time here. We might go see if we can find some ellies a little bit later, but while we decide what to do, let's go see who's going to be finding what those monkeys were shouting at. Let's see what Tristan thinks.
Well, I'm not sure, Brent, but it's not just the monkeys now. We've got squirrels alarm calling, impalas alarm calling, all on quarantine, and it's really open here, so we should be able to see what they're looking at, but Brian and I cannot spot anything. You can hear on the distance here the squirrels going crazy. Yeah, maybe they've caught what Wendy has, and everybody is just having one of those mornings and going mad. You can see all the impalas here on our left-hand side. They're all very aware, so their heads are up and they're looking very, very closely at what's going on. But they're all looking in different directions now. At one stage, they were looking right where we were. So I was hoping that we would bump into something, but we haven't seen anything. So what I'm probably going to do is just do a big loop around quarantine and see. The monkey is still alarm calling as well, but I don't see anything. For those of you that are watching the dam cam, maybe just keep an eye out there. We never know, something can come out. I know there are tracks for lions coming towards Warthogs access, so maybe that's what it is. I'm going to just go around to Warthogs access and just see if I can pick them up. Because whatever it is really upset everybody here. They're all very unimpressed with life. So I would imagine that it must be these lions. If the tracks are coming towards Warthogs access, that's what it's got to be. So I know Taxon's on the tracks, and he says they came from Buffelshoek down Aubrey's towards Warthogs access. So the monkey that is alarm calling is just off to my right. Brian, you see anything?
I don't.
So Brian and I are stumped at this stage. We don't see anything, but they must be here somewhere. Animals don't start alarm calling just for the sake of alarm calling, so they have to be here. It's over this clearing and be able to find or spot these cats moving around, so we might be just looking a little bit too close to it. So we're just going to head a little bit further and see what we can find. And while we do that, let's go across to Tayla and see what she's managed to get up to in the last little bit.
But we've headed back to quarantine, and I'm just scanning around us, and we're trying to work out where these monkeys were looking. Obviously, Tristan is a lot quicker than us, being in a vehicle. It makes it a little bit easier, so we had to do a very, very quick dart, and we saw the impala, and the impala hadn't quite spotted us yet, but they were looking back towards this drainage system again. And this is where David and I, remember the one morning David and I were driving along this most southern edge of the open area, quarantine, and we'd spotted the lions laying in just across the drainage line. And that's also the area that we've been walking around, where the hyena was. So who knows, perhaps Karula has just been lurking around here somewhere. So we're going to just keep checking. And it's not unusual for Karula to actually come out and start hunting once it's quite warm at this time. And she'll go out and she'll hunt and spend most of her day looking for something to eat. I think it's a very clever tactic. Her and another leopard by the name of Lisbon, who unfortunately I think has passed on. She lives down in she did used to roam around the southern sand near Shaw's Gate. And she did the same thing. She would sleep, relax, have a great time with her cub, and then mid-morning she'd leave her son, and then off she would go, and you'd see her moving around during the middle of the day. And it's a clever tactic, like I said, because all the other predators, most of them are relaxing and catching up on some rest. So there's really not too much competition around during the heat of the day. Everything is sitting, of course, trying to keep out of the harsh sun. But we haven't had any luck just yet. But we're checking here, and we know that a couple of vehicles have gone around, so if we see any tracks, they should technically be on top of the tire tracks from the guards that have been passing through this morning, which will give us a great sign that we are not too far behind her. But we're just carrying on, and I'm a bit sad that Brent doesn't have any faith in me, right? After the bet saying that he thinks that Tristan will find whoever's making these monkeys alarm first, and then, thank goodness, Batman, aka Kraigles, has got my back. And after all the nonsense for teasing him yesterday, at least he still likes me a little bit. And he says that he thinks I'm going to find them first. We do have an upper hand, of course, on Tristan, is that because we are on foot, we're seeing the finer things, and we'll definitely hear a noise if anything were to make a noise. And of course, we've got Herbert on our side. I mean, who could possibly beat Herbie at tracking? He's the best. He is the best of the best. But we don't know. It could be a leopard. It could be a lion. We're uncertain. It seems as though there's been lion tracks around this morning, so you never know. Maybe we stumble across them instead, which would be wonderful. Well, just as wonderful as Brent sitting with her cubs, but it seems as though they're not very active anymore. They're tired out and they're fast asleep. Let's go take a look at the prince and princess taking a royal nap.
Now we can finally calm down because they've calmed down. Now we're a bit sandwiched in at the moment. Hosana is sleeping in a hole dug by an elephant right behind us, and Xongile has just walked up and plonked herself right next to us. She's doing a bit of grooming, and she might go flat, and I think they're going to definitely be in this area this afternoon unless Karula has had success during her hunt. Oh, there you go, a bit of de-ticking, de-fleeing. Now a lot of you will see your domestic cats do that, and even domestic dogs. Oh, you must be tired, Xongi. Your brother's worn you out. He's worn himself out, and he's got a nice cool elephant hole. I probably dug yesterday, so the sand's quite nice and fresh and cool because of the rain we've been having. But they are definitely enjoying the cooler weather we've been enjoying. Hey, little Xongilolo. Time to preen and primp. Not that you don't always look your best. Hi, Brandon. Oh, itchy, yeah. Get those ticks out. They really do look to have a look of enjoyment on their face when they have a good scratch. Brandon, sorry about that. Oh, she's up. I haven't forgotten about you, Brandon. I mean, she is under the vehicle. You can see how close she is. Oh, her brother's moved. I don't even know where he went. I can't see them, but they're both so close behind us now, we actually can't see them. We can't move the car either. So Brandon was wondering, is there time and age for a dominant leopard? So females will generally become self-sufficient from about 16 to 18 months. Males at about 3 years, but a male will only be really big enough and old enough to take over a territory when he's about 5 to 6 years old. 5's quite early, normally 6. Just trying to see where they're going. They're moving around. Xongile is still right behind us. And so 6 years old, a female, because she often inherits a section of her mom's territory, she starts being a dominant female much earlier. Now the reason that the female will inherit a piece of her mom's territory is so she has an easier start in life. She doesn't have to immediately go fight a battle-hardened veteran leopardess for a territory. So, and then they live males till about 14, but they're only really dominant in an area till about 12, and they'll be dominant over multiple different areas over their life. So it is quite interesting. Oh, they're back right next to us on the left, and right behind Batman. Batman, where were your superhero senses there? There we go. So, they still look like there's a bit of joy left in them. Okay, I'm going to move the vehicle around a little bit. I'm a bit further away. So, as I said, Brandon, females will generally live a bit longer, maybe 15, 16 at the outside. The oldest living female recorded is about 19. The oldest living male recorded in the wild, of course, I'm not talking about captivity, was 15 or just under 16, and that was the Campan male. And the oldest living female I know of was the 3-4 female, but at that old age they really struggle. I mean, they're losing teeth, and she keeps moving right behind us, so we can't move. But there's an orb spider that Craig spotted a little earlier. I can't move the car again. So, have you got it? There. They are underneath the back of the vehicle. They're probably about a foot behind Craig, so we can't see them. Craig, I've lost the orb as well. Oh, have you got it? It's come out a bit. Let's try this. Oh, there we go. Well done. There we go. A big female golden orb spider. These leopards are not letting us move, and we can't put them on camera because Xongile is literally lying under the spare tire at the back at the moment. I'm going to just try to see if I can spot them. Oh, there they come right next to me. Not letting us move at all. It seems like the games have started again. Now, David is wondering, will the cubs stay close to us for protection? No, they're just very used to the vehicles. We've actually have to come find them. Here comes Hosana walking through. Hello, big boy. If you decided behind the car is not as nice anymore. Now, there we go. Xongile is hiding. There could be another pounce. Right next to us. Oh, up the tree. So special. Oh, off they go again. Okay. Let's try and catch up with them there. I mean, they were literally surrounding us. I mean, she was this far from being underneath the back of the car. Okay. Well, we catch up with the leopards. Let's go see how Tristan's tracking's going.
Well, we've got two different tracking sets that we've got to decide which ones we want to follow. So there's tracks for lions that are coming through and seem to be cutting towards Arathusa side, and then what I think the monkeys are alarm calling it is a track for what I would imagine is Karula, a female leopard going into the staff camp and going up towards Galago. So I think the bushwalk team, they're busy on those tracks, so we're just checking around now for these lion tracks to see where they've gone to. I think they might have crossed into Arathusa already, but it will be interesting to see, because I wonder which ones it is. Maybe it's the two Nkuhuma females that have been separated, because I know Rexon was saying that he had tracks for the female and cubs up in Buffalo's Hook, so I don't think it's them, but I haven't seen any further signs. So Stephen, you're asking whether the cats ever come near to camp. Well, indeed they do, Stephen. So that cat that's the monkeys are alarm calling and the impalas are alarm calling about, which, like I say, I'm sure is Karula, has basically walked right through the middle of the camp. She's gone straight through, and I've seen her sometimes with her cubs under the decks of the rooms. So leopards in particular are fairly tolerant of camps, and they actually prefer them. They know that there's lots of places to hide cubs, and so you find females will den quite a bit there, and so they are utilized. I'm just having a little look to see if there's any signs of these tracks. Lions, not so much. Lions I've seen come into den sites, but into lodges, sorry, and they spend time, but they don't really hang around like leopards will. Leopards will spend lots of time around camps, and I've seen them often hunting in camps. I've seen them moving around quite regularly. So lions not so much, leopards very, very often, Stephen. So we're just checking very carefully to see if there's any signs of these lions coming over. It's difficult because the road is so hard at the moment that to see any sign of these tracks, you're just looking for little smudges and breaks in the actual surface of the road. Now, the last track I saw was quite a bit further north of what we are now. So, James, you're wondering about the two Nkuhuma lionesses. Well, I think that's who we're tracking at the moment. So, by the looks of it, no, they haven't rejoined. I haven't had any updates on it, but by the looks of it, no, they haven't rejoined as of yet. And I think this is who we are busy tracking. It's very difficult to make out. All it is little smudges on the ground, so I can't see the exact size of the track. It could be one of the Birmingham boys, but it looks very much like female tracks, so I would imagine it's those two Nkuhumas. And this is the kind of area that they've been walking around quite a bit. They've spent a lot of time around the Arathusa, right on the sort of eastern edge of Arathusa, and then up into Buffalo's Hook, Manyaleti. So I would imagine this is who we are tracking, and that they haven't joined up. The last time we saw the Nkuhumas, they hadn't, which was a few days ago, and I haven't heard any reports of them being with the Pride. Now, it's not too much of a concern at this stage, because ultimately they will find one another eventually. It's just going to take them getting onto a big carcass or something like that close to one another, and then they'll find it. Also, they'll start to vocalize if they become desperate, and that will cause the others to hear and hopefully then move in their direction, and all of them will come together again. Now, this road has been driven this morning already, so if the tracks are on this road, then we know that these tracks are very, very fresh. The only problem is this road is quite rocky, so to see tracks is not going to be easy. But this is an area where we spent quite a bit of time following Shadow around, so she likes this because of how dense it is. So maybe we'll bump into her again. But I think everybody's trying to track down these lions. It sounds like they've walked a long way today, so I'm hoping that they'll be just lying somewhere where it's easy to see them. The other problem is at the moment is the grass has become so long that if they lie down, oh, warthogs. Very, very skittish warthogs, but warthogs nonetheless. There they go, they're busy running off behind that bush. So there you can just see the little tail sticking up, and off they go. So that's them gone. Typical little warthog. They often are quite skittish. I suppose if there's lion and leopard around in the shape of Shadow and the Nkuhumas, then I would also be quite skittish. But they seemed like they were having a really good mud wallow when we came around the corner there. They were all in the mud and then they just got up and ran. It's a perfect place for them. Alright, so I think we might be able to get a view of these little warthogs. Just hold on 2 seconds. There's some tiny little ones in there. There we go. And they've decided to stop. Nice. So you can see the male, young male at the back, female on the left, and then all her babies from this last year. And that was that. Right, so now that the warthogs have departed, let's go across to Tayla and see how her tracking is going.
So what we're doing at the moment is we found Karula's tracks, can you believe it, on the middle road of quarantine. Now, we managed to pick up a few. I think they're underneath somebody's vehicle tracks. So I think we're about 15 minutes behind her or so. And I think where those monkeys were alarming from, I suspect that they'd seen her as she was walking out of this area. But we can't see any tracks at the moment. But this ground, as you can see, is horribly hard. It's very difficult to see if anything has been walking around here, and of course, as you know, the light is not the greatest this morning, so it is making tracking difficulty. Herbie's down, just walking further away from us, just having a look to see if she's crossed there, but I don't think so. I'd actually like to go back to this marula tree, and it's a marula tree where often we've seen an elephant, our naughty Angry Ellie, if you remember Angry Ellie, he often used to frequent this tree and feed on the marulas, and so were the baboons. They were also hanging around. So I just want to check over here very, very carefully again to see if she hadn't crossed, because I don't know if she would have veered off too far. There was a big herd of impala in the middle of quarantine, so there's no real need for her to go that way. So she could even just be lying in the middle of quarantine flat in the grass, hoping that the impala are going to make an approach towards her and she'll just play the patience game. I don't know. We'll just have to see. Because we wanted to sort of see, we didn't want to flash her out, of course, and go marching through the middle of quarantine. But I'm just checking here because there's also a drainage system which goes behind the tent and then behind Vuyatela Lodge. And she's used that a couple of times. But there's nothing here. So we'll check here because here's a little bit softer. But also, again, being one of the main roads, this road gets driven so many times by many different vehicles, and a lot of the time they're not even looking for tracks. They're just, bringing staff from the villages, bringing them back into work, or it's guests leaving early, driving in their own cars. But they were coming straight down the middle of this road. And I'm sure if she was walking around here, she may have been doing a bit of a territorial patrol too, but I haven't seen sort of any scuff marks or any sort of turning marks as she's arched her back up towards a tree and then lifted her tail and sprayed urine. I have not seen anything of that just yet. It's so tough. It is so tough to pick up tracks on these hard substrates. My goodness. So the last track we had is probably about 30 yards just around the bend that way. But now we don't know where she has gone. And the baboons aren't here today, which is sad, because if the baboons were around, they would have been alarming for a long time if a leopard had popped through here. And this is normally where they sit. And they would have then helped us find Karula. But nothing just yet, and you've got to keep scanning, because all it takes is one leopard to just quickly peep up in the long grass, pop its head up in the long grass and then go back down, or a tailed twitch, you would see that. So you've just got to keep scanning. I thought that she might have jumped up into a marula at one point and observed the area, because she couldn't see very well when she's walking through this long grass. And quarantine, as you know, it's crested. So you walk and you can't see anything that's 100 yards in front of you because it just disappears behind the long grass. So I'm surprised she's not using these little termite mounds and marula trees to sort of jump up and look for little vantage points so that she can, of course, find herself and her little ones. A marula impala to eat. Here are some zinnias though. Remember I was telling you earlier about the zinnias? They are drying up, the red Mexican zinnias, the one that I made a whistle out of once. I promise you, you just have to take my word for it. But I can't use this one. This one is drying up. So I want to show you what I mean. So this part of the stem is not long enough. You can see it's very short. It needs to be a little bit longer, almost down to there, this part, in order to be able to make a whistle. So this one won't be any good, and I haven't seen any more, sadly. Right. Oh, that doesn't belong in the bush. A little piece of rubber from something. We shall take that with us. Okay, we're going to keep searching around here. I think I'm actually going to walk towards the DRC sign and have a look and see if there are any tracks around there. Tristan had those lion tracks earlier. Let's go see if he's followed up on any more.
So we're still looking, Tayla, we're still on the hunt for these lions now. I'm sure they are somewhere here. This is all prime Nkuhuma territory. They like these sections. Seen them a lot up in this area, so this is where they like to hang out. I know this is where Steph had them the other day on the TV show. So we're right up in the northern part of Arathusa, just in the corner on the boundary of Djuma. So I'm hoping that they're somewhere here. They like this area because of the density of it. So I just want to check. Ah, there they are, right there. Oh, let's not stall the car. Jigga's got a very different clutch to Wendy. Wendy's clutch is very late, whereas Jigga's is quite early, so I've got to get used to Jigga a little bit. But, do I see a little cub? I do. So the whole Nkuhuma Pride is here. That's good. Let's see how many females there are. But there's definitely some smaller ones in there. How many adults do we see? Just the 3 females, so there's not all 5. It's only 3 females, but the cubs are there, and they look massive. They obviously had a really good meal, because there are some fat little bellies in amongst this bush. Now, they're not lying in the greatest place, but it is nice just to see them nonetheless, which is really exciting that they're back. They've obviously had a busy morning, these guys. They've walked a long way. They've gone from Buffelshoek Hook, Manyaleti boundary, and then they've come all the way along through Djuma and into Arathusa. So that's why everybody is sleepy, coupled with the fact that they've got big full bellies, means that it's now time to have a really good rest, and they're going to do what lions do best, and that is have a snooze. So you'll find that these guys will be here the whole day. They're not going to move too much. I don't think they're going to get up and go anywhere until this evening again. And look at all the flies on her face. You can see she's got masses of them, and this is often what happens after a bit of food, is there's all this blood and bits of meat that gets stuck in the fur, and then the flies come along and they're attracted by that smell and they land all over them. But you can imagine how uncomfortable that must be when trying to sleep and all you've got is these crawling around, going into your eyes. Very uncomfortable, I would imagine. Although it doesn't seem to be worrying her too much. She seems to be completely asleep. Now, they couldn't have chosen a thicker area to put themselves in. I don't think there's even space for another vehicle in here. That's how dense it is where they're lying. It's this massive Tambuti thicket. And so for us as people, it's not ideal, but for them, it will be the perfect place. If the sun starts to come out, because it started quite cold today, but it's warmed up a little bit and it seems to be getting a little bit brighter. So if the sun comes out, where they're lying now is going to be dense shade, and it's going to be the perfect place to rest up during the day. Also, they're not going to be right out in the open, so they're not going to have too many animals shouting at them during the day. They're going to be quite well concealed. So really nice place for them, but like I say, not ideal for us as people. Although we've managed to find a nice little window on that female, the rest of them are quite difficult to see. They're all curled up in thickets. I can't see all the cubs. At the moment I can only see 3 of them, but I would imagine the rest are here. Like I say, it's so dense that it's difficult. There the other 3 are. I can actually see the other 3 now. They're off to the left a little bit. but it's so good to see them around again and spending a little bit more time. They had that sort of period where they just disappeared completely and they went up into Buffelshoek, and it was after that whole thing with the white mussel disease of those two cubs, and I wonder if maybe they were just a bit nervous that being in the area was causing that, and that's why they just went off slightly and moved further north. I'm sure it also has to do with the buffalo being up in the north as well, given that this pride is growing and there's quite a few mouths to feed. So for them, I suppose they need to keep going and keep sustaining all these little growing bodies, and so going where the buffalo are is the number one objective. But in the last sort of week or 2 weeks, should we call it, they've been back a lot more, and they've been spending quite a bit of time around the property, so it's really, really good to start seeing them more regularly again. And I can't believe how big the cubs have gotten. They are massive. When we drove in, it's actually quite difficult to see them because they, as you can see there's an adult female at the back and then a cub lying in front of her. But it almost looks like an adult in front these days. It's really, really big. And they're growing fast. It's much like Xongile and Hosana. They're bulking up quickly. Sally from Oregon, indeed, this is a nice comfy hidey hole. If you're a lion, that is. If you're a person, I'm not so sure. I don't think you would want to walk into this group of them at this distance because you'd get quite a fright, I would imagine, and there would just be lions all over the place. But for a lion, it is the perfect hidey hole. The cubs are well hidden. It's going to be shady, and look at her. She's completely out cold. And you can see that because it's not too hot today, the rate of breathing is not that fast, even though they're very full and big-bellied. You would imagine if it was a summer's day, these girls would be panting already. The heat would be way up and they would be starting to get very, very hot. But because it's a really nice cool morning with a nice cool breeze, it means that they can have a much slower rate of breathing and are not building up nearly as much heat. But it's definitely gotten much warmer, eh, Brian? In the last maybe half an hour, all of a sudden it's gotten brighter and much warmer, and it almost feels like the sun is going to break through at some point. And it will be really nice to see the sun. I've forgotten what that looks like. I believe yesterday there was a beautiful solar eclipse, which we would never have seen because we had the thickest bank of cloud to our west, so there was no way of seeing us any rays of sun. But I believe it was spectacular. I watched a bit of a live segment on it on Facebook and it looked amazing to see. So any of you that did get to see it, I'm very, very jealous. Oh, and we have some rolling, and I think that is going to be the sum total of movement for the day. You're going to see them rolling every now and then, but that is about it. There might be the odd ear flick or tail flick just to disturb the flies that build up around their face and ear areas, but other than that, it's going to be one of those days, a very sedate and relaxed sleep in. I wonder what they managed to catch. Whatever it was substantial because, like I say, they've all got really quite pronounced bellies, and so it must have been a decent sized animal, something like that waterbuck that they caught a week ago. That would be the size of animal that I would imagine they have caught. Alright, so we're going to sit with them a little bit longer and see if maybe one of the cubs or females pops up their head and we can get a bit of a better visual. And so while we do that, let's go back to Tayla and see what the update is on these leopard tracks that she's been following.
I'm trying to get rid of my hiccups at the moment, which I have, which are, excuse me, wonderful. I don't think it's going to work very well. I suspect I'm going to hiccup my way through this next little bit, which will be very frustrating, but it's it's okay. You'll have to just deal with me, and it's the most annoying thing, and I always get hiccups for a long time. We haven't had much luck with Karula. It doesn't actually seem like she's come this way at all, so our suspicions were wrong. Maybe the monkeys sort of deterred her to change direction, and we think that she's gone west, so basically back towards those areas which we were walking initially this morning when we first excuse me, when we first heard the hyena, and then we very quickly saw it, that we didn't get to show you. So I think she's been moving around over there, or that's probably where she's ended off now, but at least it'll give us a chance for this afternoon. My goodness, I'm so sorry, to try and find her. These hiccups are not going to go away. They are here to stay this morning. We will try and hold my breath for as long as I can, but it never normally works. I have to do the whole drinking a glass of water upside down, and that normally works very well for me. I can imagine Rebecca and Louise are having a good laugh at me as, well, I'm panicking with my hiccups. So we're going to have to say a goodbye to you, all of you now, but it has been wonderful, and I'm so glad we managed to see that hyena on foot today, which was really quite lovely. And I think we've had a great day, don't you? Pity about the insects, but we will catch them again soon. But don't remember sunset safari, and we will follow up on a couple of things like the baboon spider. But from all of us here on Bushwalk, it's been wonderful. We'll see you again this afternoon, but you're going to go across to Brent now and see if he's managed to find something in the last couple of minutes.
Well, I just found tracks of Karula and a very, very fresh, very large pile of dung. And I think I just want to make sure if she's heading back towards the cubs. I mean, these tracks are shining. Hold on. If we go fast, we might catch her. I mean, that dung was literally steaming. And she is heading back in the direction to where the cubs are over there. The tracks are still on the road. So she might have made a kill somewhere on close to quarantine. She's heading back to fetch Hosana and Xongile. So half expect to see her any second. That'd be quite nice to end off with the Queen herself. And of course the Nkuhuma Pride with Tristan. Sorry, as I'm just concentrating a little bit. I think she would have cut through there. Just check down the road. I think she would have cut through the block here. There she is. Those tracks were really fresh. And she's jogging back towards where the cubs are. I'm trying to have a quick look, see if she's got blood on her face. Ooh, it's unusual to see the Queen in such a hurry. Or maybe she bumped into a hyena somewhere around here. That den is not far. Hello, Queen Karula. The cubs have been patiently waiting for you all morning. I'm trying to see if she looks like she's been feeding. Of course, I just want to see if there's any blood on her face. Oh, when I saw that dung, I was like, oh, that was too fresh. I was actually heading towards quarantine. I had to turn around. You can't ever leave a set of leopard tracks that fresh. Hello, Queenie. I'm not sure. She's in a hurry. She might have bumped into something she doesn't like, as in a hyena. Or she might be quite hungry and wanting to get back if she does have a kill. And we are coming towards the end of the sunrise safari, and it has been magical. And we know where the Nkuhumas are. We've now got Karula heading towards the cubs. So I think she might have made a kill somewhere. But we're going to have to wait for the sunset safari to find out. So you better be on the back of the vehicle with us. And we look forward to seeing you, and hopefully with the royal family. So from all of us here at Safari Live in the middle of the African bush. We're going to say toodaloo, and I'm just going to follow the leopard for a little longer. Bye!